Hello, good evening. I want to thank you for joining us on Dreamers and Doers today. My name is Julie Russell, and I am here today with my co-host, Lisa Saunders.
Hello.
A local author and speaker. We are interviewing Kathleen Poole, who owns Mystic River Acupuncture, and it has been in operation for 25 years as the oldest fully functioning acupuncture clinic in Southeastern Connecticut. Kathleen, could you tell us a little bit about your business?
Sure. I am thrilled to be on Dreamers and Doers, that you guys think I'm a dreamer and a doer.
You are both of those, which is very exciting. You fit the bill.
So I have an acupuncture clinic. It's called Mystic River Acupuncture, even though it's in Groton, because when never name your business after your location. I moved after 7 years to Groton, and everybody knew me as Mystic River Acupuncture, so I've kept the
Kathleen,
name.
Wouldn't that be like never name your website after your location?
That would be too, but I had to do damage control. Yeah.
So they counterbalance
yes.
one another.
Right. So now I'm in Groton. I'm near the roller rink. Most of the people around here know where the roller rink is. It's an old doctor's office in the city of Groton. But you asked me, what was the question? How I got started? No, what the clinic was like.
I was saying that you have the oldest clinic in Southeastern Connecticut, and you have many things going on there. Today we wanted to talk about herbology.
Right, that's true. I have, I call it a full-service clinic because we offer a therapeutic massage, acupuncture, cupping, moxibustion, all kinds of things.
Cupping,
moxibustion, that's for another show.
Then we'll have to have you back.
And Chinese herbs. So today we're going to talk about the Chinese herbs part of it.
Okay.
Well, I know when I came into your office one time, you were demonstrating how you were putting together somebody's herbal tea. I went into back room with you, and you were showing me, and you look like, from the Munsters, and I was, what was Uncle? What's the uncle's name? Uncle somebody when he's down in his basement making, a teaspoon of this.
Yes.
And it was so fascinating that you were able to bring healing to people with your herbs.
It is.
Tell us about that.
And it's so fun. In juxtaposition to that Uncle the Munster thing, as a better image of what my herb room looks like. I have a whole wall that's full of these jars. Here we go. These jars full of herbs. And when my little daughter, which is a long time ago, I don't know how many of you have read the BFG. It's about the Big Friendly Giant. And he collects dreams in children. Instead of eating the children when he goes to see them at night, because he has to at least put it like the other giants, he has to pretend so they don't eat him. He collects the children's dreams, and he comes home and he puts them in his cave. And when my daughter saw all my mason jars for the first time full of all my herbs, she said, "Oh, Mom, it looks just like the BFG's cave."
Oh, it's an amazing looking collection of things. They don't all look like little flakes. That's kind of what I would have thought.
Well, they're all very
like,
different. So today what we're going to do, what I thought we'd do, because we only have half an hour, right, is I made this ahead of time, and this is a special formula, and it's got a really pretty name. It's called Jade Windscreen. And I don't speak Chinese, but I know what some of the characters mean. So the character for it is Yu Ping Feng San. The character for
Yu Ping Yang.
Feng San.
Okay.
But the characters denoting that name have the image of a screen you would put up to combat wind from coming into your home. And what happens is in Chinese medicine, we say that the climates can invade. So you can have wind invading, and that causes allergies, and it causes common colds, and it causes these different things. So this is a formula that protects you from the wind. It puts a screen up from the wind.
I read somewhere that you were having a workshop on, was it spring wind?
As a matter of fact, I'm having a workshop this Thursday. It might be full, but you can call and find out.
Okay.
Oh, that's tomorrow.
So they'll see it on TV
Thursday.
Wednesday.
Oh, right. Yes.
So tomorrow is when your workshop is.
Call in the morning and see if there's any openings. And if we have a huge demand, of course, I'll do it again. I have a somewhat small waiting room, so I can't really fit more than I'd say 10 is a comfortable number, so like 12 people at the most for the workshops. But if there's enough people who sign up, we do it again. And that workshop's going to be about the concept of wind, how it gets into your body, what it does when it's there, how to get rid of it, how to protect yourself against it. And then for each of our workshops, we did one on cold in the winter, and we're doing one on heat in the summer. I have a little kit that has all the things you need to keep yourself safe from the whatever the climate is we're talking about.
So
and this formula will be part of the kit. People will have that in their kit to go home with.
Your business also includes an educational component.
That's right, and that's we'll talk in the next show about how my business evolved, but that's the new level I think that we're evolving to, is adding the educational component.
So this is jade wind screen, and it is an herb.
It's 3 herbs.
Okay.
Now in Chinese medicine, we don't give one herb usually. We almost always give a combination. And you have the 3 different herbs. So this is this one's atractalodes, baiju. This one is fang feng, which is siler root.
So that's tractor, fun, and
and this one is astragalus, huangqi. So it's astragalus, the English would be atractalodes and siler root. For me, it's huangqi, baiju, and fang feng. Each of these herbs does something different, but when you put them together into a formula, it's not just 3 herbs in a formula, it's a different thing. So it's almost like a formula is a super herb. So you have to combine them skillfully in the right amounts with the right herbs. And so these 2, there are 6 grams of these, and there's 3 grams of this. So it's a ratio of 2 to 1. Now you can do.
Now, how did you learn all this? I mean, this seems like a complicated. It's
I
almost
studied.
Like you're
I
a
took
pharmacist.
a 3-year class to do it, and then I took another 2-year postgraduate class, and then I went to China to study.
Okay, when you
And
went
then
to
now
China
I study every year with my Chinese teacher.
Okay, so it sounds like it has taken you 5 years to become an herbologist.
Well, after 3, you can pass the board examination.
Okay.
So you're
So I'm
certified.
nationally certified for Chinese herbs
Okay.
to be an herbalist. I think that's minimal, very minimal. I mean, even now I've been doing it for 10 years, and I really feel. I mean, in the face of 5,000 years of herbology, that's.
So that's how long this has been a practice, is about 5,000 years?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, and then what kind of things, other than protecting against wind, why would somebody want an herbal tea from you?
Well, for this herbal tea, this herb huangqi has the quality of protecting. It goes to the lungs and the digestion. So you know how when you catch a cold, you can have a tummy ache and you can have nasal congestion, or your lungs start coughing. So this herb is called the chief herb of the formula, and it does that. This one, the atractalodes, is the deputy herb, and it helps this one, and it can focus it. Like the more if I put more of the huangqi in, I might be focusing it more towards the protective nature and protecting the exterior. And if I put this one in, I might be focusing it more towards the stomach part of it. And this is a special herb for combating wind. So this is the wind herb. In this formula, that's for wind protection. This is the wind herb. So that's the assistant herb. Now we have herbs for so many different things.
Like what would be, I don't know.
Asthma, digestion.
Asthma. You have an herbal tea?
Tea for asthma.
For asthma.
I have different herbal teas for asthma.
Okay.
Would the wind impact like the pulmonary system?
Yes.
Because it seems you mentioned the lungs, and
It
you brought up
does.
asthma. So in my American culture, it seems that perhaps things that address wind would help me breathe a little easier.
Exactly. So what we have to do if you have asthma, for instance, is find out how much of it is phlegm getting stuck in your bronchioles, how much of it is our concept of wind, how much of it is just that your immune system's weak, how much of it's from getting like allergic reaction. So we categorize illnesses in a different way. You know, it's not just exercise-induced asthma. It's exercise-induced asthma, but is it more phlegmy, or is it more dry, or is it? So we can adjust our medicines towards that, which is an advantage. And you can take this. Most of my asthma patients take their inhalers. You can totally take these herbs with your Western.
Okay.
In most cases, you know, sometimes I might be a little careful, but for asthma, it's we make we make adjustments. For
Like
that.
for insomnia? Is there
Oh,
one?
for
Do you-
insomnia, yes.
So you might say, take this before you go to sleep?
Yes, so you might have for insomnia, you might have something that you take 3 times a day, perhaps.
Okay.
And then you take an extra dose before you go to bed, or maybe your insomnia is not that bad, or you only have it on occasion, so you just have it in your cupboard and you take it when you need it. All kinds of different ways to deal with insomnia. In fact, one of the herbs I brought, because I wanted to show you there's different ways of preparing, this is Ziziphus, Swanzau Wren. This is good for insomnia. And I brought this to show, I just want to show the different things you have to do to herbs
Yeah, 'cause-
sometimes.
yeah.
So for me to give you a formula with this, I would have to crush it up. So I have a mortar and pestle, and I would or get it out of the way, the pot. I would crush it up, or I also have a little mini food processor that I might throw them in and give it a whirl.
Oh, okay.
And I would do that before I put it into your formula.
Oh,
So these aren't just
okay.
thrown together in a bag for you. Things are
you're
done
having-
to what they need to be
Yeah,
done
because I'm
for
looking
you.
at them. They're all big and solid. And
Well, let me show you. Well,
hard
first of all,
looking.
let me serve you some tea.
Please
Okay.
do.
So this is jade windscreen, and I
Okay.
brought. Normally, you would sweeten it with honey, but first of all, I didn't have honey at home that was easy to squirt out without getting everything sticky. And second of all, I just wanted to show how you adapt things to your own circumstances and your culture. And we use this often, the agave nectar. So this is what I brought, and if you think you need it sweetened, you can put that in.
Okay.
So here we go. This is a traditional herb pot.
What
Here,
makes
you can
it
bring
an
it
herb
down.
pot versus?
Well, this is you throw the herbs in. It's going to be hard to see inside it, and then you fill it with water. You turn it on. It's kind of like a rice cooker. It goes off when they're ready.
I can't really look in there. Is there anything inside there, or is it just
The
an
herbs in the
emptiness?
no.
Is
It says the herbs are in here, but see that little heater thing?
Okay, there's
So
a
you
heater.
cover the water above the little heater pod,
Okay.
and then and then when the herbs are ready, it's like a rice cooker goes off when the rice is ready.
Okay.
So, and also it has a strainer in the spout. So when I
okay.
pour this out, the herbs won't come out, just the tea. I wish it was a little warmer,
That's
but
all
it's
right.
not.
I'll pretend that it's
And
nice
this,
and hot.
the other advantage to this is it's not one of the nasty tasting herbs. Chinese herbs are very
Oh, that's very tasty.
famous for being bad tasting, but they aren't all. There you go, Jules.
That's
You
very
got it.
tasty. I don't know
Almost
what
have it
to I don't know what to relate the flavor to.
Well, that's the thing. This is a medicinal tea, so this is something that you wouldn't
yeah.
necessarily take. Now, I want to show different ways of measuring. Now, this is an old-fashioned Chinese scale. I still use these, but they're time-consuming because I don't use them all the time.
Okay.
But when we had the hurricane,
Ah.
here's my other scale that I use most of the time, and this is an American scientific grade Scout Pro.
Plugs
And
into the wall.
you just put the herbs on. I put them in this little.
Oh, but there's
little
an
cup
electric
here.
cord.
Yeah, I didn't bring the
Okay.
cord 'cause we're not
Okay, so
plugging
you're
in.
telling me so that when we were without a power for days during
I was
the
able to
hurricane,
keep
you
going
were-
with this
Oh,
to make my
okay.
patients their herbs. Now, maybe the accuracy wasn't exact, so I might have gypped them a few cents one way or the other. But I think I didn't surcharge them for. So I was going
For
to
the
use this
time.
because this is going to be the interesting thing that probably people haven't seen before. Most
Yeah.
everybody's had a kitchen scale. So to weigh these herbs out,
Okay.
I usually line them up in my office, and I'm just going to open these tops right now in the interest of being
Okay.
quick. And then I have a little pan that I use. So I take this, and these are in Chinese scale. So a qian, liang, and I don't know what the other one is. I never use it. But a qian is 3 grams. So I don't know how close you can come in on here, but this is marked. There are 3 different little red ribbons.
Oh, the ribbons. I thought that was just for decoration.
No, this is how you hold them. So if you're using the lightest of the scales, which is a qian, which is I use, you use this and use this row of marks.
That's
To
showing you
determine
how much
3
it weighs
grams.
when the.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And then the
wow.
second one, I mean, I don't know how close you guys can come in here, but you probably can't see these. I mean, anyone who wants to check this out can come and I'll show them in my office. There's a second row for the larger number, and then there's a third row.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on which row you're using, you pick up the little. Oh, here we go. You can see these little marks.
Oh.
So those are the measurement, and depending on which row of marks you're using, you hold this. I'll show you. See, so this is that's balanced. Now, if I don't move the little weight and I do that, it goes.
So could this even work? Like, say you have to mail an envelope and you think it could be over the ounce. Is this like?
You would use this.
Could I use that?
I would recommend using something else. So I'm going to make this.
Perhaps
this
you could
herb
just
here.
stop
so 1,
at the
2,
post.
3. We're going to have 3 grams of this one. This is the Huang Chi. So I'm just
No,
going to
it's
pour
a
it.
2-to-1 ratio.
Yeah. Here we
So
go.
for 5,000 years,
So that's a little too much. We'll put some back in.
people have been using
Like, it looks like
herbs
blood.
to
That's
treat
about right.
a variety of
So you can see
illnesses.
how that's balancing there. And then you pour it in.
Ta-da.
This looks like a piece of wood.
We call them the tongue depressors.
It is wood. This is wood.
It's
like
wood.
From a tree?
It's wood. It's from the astragalus plant.
Okay.
It's the and this is the root of the tractylose.
And that
So
does
this would
kinda
be
look like
again. I
sliced
put too many
root.
on.
Where do you obtain your supplies?
From a place in Braintree, believe it or not. In Braintree, Mass, there's a major supplier. Now, this is going to be less because this is the one we don't have as much of, so I'm going to move this here. Put these on.
This is pretty time consuming.
Well, I mean, I'm
make
doing it
a
here at this
formula.
table. When you're doing it in
Right.
the office, you're kind of like clipping along.
And
And I'm using the other scale,
scale.
too. But I mean, when I first started, I always used this instead of the electronic scale just because I knew how and I thought it would be good to know.
Yeah.
And then what I would do, I use cellulose bags because I don't like to use plastic if I can help it. And I mean, if you have good preservation, just to be a good green, eco green
cellulose
person.
bag
Yeah,
is
they're
something that-
biodegradable.
Oh,
You
okay.
pour it in here.
Now,
and then I would
you
do it-
didn't do the mortar and pestle.
Well, because this was just an example.
Oh, okay.
This doesn't go in there. If I was putting these in there, I would have used
then
the
you
mortar
would have
and
had
pestle.
to have done that
I would have.
first.
I would have
before-
weighed it out, put it in
Okay.
here, and then
Okay.
dumped it in. So anyway, then I just fold it up, and this is cinnamon twig tea, which I had made. This is from our last workshop. This combats cold, and I just package it up like this, put a label on it telling you what to do when you go home, and you go home with your packet of herbs.
What if you don't have a fancy pot like that?
If you
What
don't
do
have a
do?
fancy pot like that,
Imagine.
you can use one of these
Okay, the old-fashioned little pot.
Revereware or some kind of
And then
saucepan.
you just strain it to make sure
Yeah, and I
you're
mean
not
these
getting the herbs in
these
there.
are probably going to run you. I would say you could probably get it for $60 online, or if you bought it retail, it's going to be $75. I mean, I think we'd probably have to sell them for $75 if we were buying one.
The
one
fancy herb.
fancy herb electric one. But you can get this kind, and you can sell. This is mine, and you can see it's well used. This one you can is you just put it on the stovetop. I use one of those plates that go on top of the grate because I have a gas stove. But this would be like $10 or $12 in Chinatown. And this is also nice because you can hold the handle and then you can pour out the spout. So you just have your herbs.
Isn't there a song like that?
Yeah, about the little tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, the short and stout. And this is
And
short
you
and
just-
stout, and here's the handle, and here's the spout. So this is a traditional pot like that. So that's that. Now the other thing is, let's say this is really nasty tasting. Not that this is, but
Right, this
you
is
might have
good.
a nasty tasting kind of herb. The best way to take it is like I just made it, in the little, well, not in a pot, but cooked up. You know, you get your little packet from your herbalist, in this case me, and you go home and you cook up your herbs. Well, we have other ways of having them. So this same formula, the same jade windscreen formula, can come in a granule form.
Oh, and that seems
I mean,
easier.
don't stick your nose in it or anything because I have to sell it, but I know it. It comes in with a gram spoon. So you take a gram spoon, and I give you the gram spoon, or 3 grams is a teaspoon, and a dose is 3 grams. So you can either take 3 grams or you can take a teaspoon. The little gram spoons come like that, and I give one to everybody who gets a box of herbs. And this is what it looks like.
Just very fine powder.
Yeah, it's very fine powder. I don't know if you can see that or not. Well, I mean, it looks like a powder. You don't have to come in on it. And we have this herb pot in the way for some reason, I think. So I'm going to pour that back in.
Anyway, okay.
So what you do is you go home and you pour this into, you can put this in a smoothie, you can put this in applesauce, you can make a tea out of it. So it's an easier way. A lot of times people will take, I was going to give you a taste of this too, but I didn't have any spare water at the table.
That's fine.
So you can, sometimes people take their other teas, but then when they're traveling they'll bring their
They'll bring that to make
Now,
it easier.
To make it even easier, you could get a patent herb. So this is pills.
Okay.
This is the same formula in pills. Now the problem with pills is obviously I can't adjust these for you. So really what would happen if you came to me and I gave you Jade Windscreen and Julie came to me for Jade Windscreen, you would go out with two different formulas because I would add some things to your Jade Windscreen that were good for you, and I would add some things to hers that were good for her. I can't do that with these.
And you can't get the granular stuff into little capsule things.
Oh, you can. Yes, you can if you want to. And I can add to the granules, but I can't take out. So like maybe you don't need the psyllar root. I can't take it out of the pills. I can't take it out of the granules if I've mixed them up with a formula. But you can get these, I should have brought that, I didn't think. They're these little encapsulating machines that they cost, I think we sell them for $15 maybe. My staff takes care of the pricing, so I don't really remember. But it's not more than $15 or $16. And it's a little tray, you put the little capsules in, you pour the powder on them, and then you kind of scrape it across the tops of the capsules to make sure it's all in. You put the top of the cap in, and then there you go, you have capsules. Now, it's time consuming, but I did it, I don't take them that way, but I did it one time myself to see how long it took. And, you know, you watch one sitcom, you've got 100 capsules. So.
Okay. So you can have the tea, which may go back at least 5,000 years.
Yes.
Or the granules,
the granules.
which go.
They're fairly modern because they boil them up in huge vats.
Okay.
They dry the liquid out of the vat, and then the way they dry is they like spray it on the sides of the stainless steel vats, and then they scrape it off, so that it's very pure. It doesn't have a lot of filler in it, you know, these kind of herbs.
And then the third option would be to get an encapsulator and make it into your 21st century medicine.
Or if you want to spend the money, I can get this for you in capsules. I can send to the place, and they'll do it. But it's much more expensive.
Now you're one of the few people that actually has these herbs. Am I right?
Right. I am. There's not another. I don't know of another one in Southeastern Connecticut.
That's
there
what I
may be,
thought.
but I dare say mine is probably the most well stocked. But a lot of times, what small businesses do now, small acupuncturists, is you can send a prescription into your supplier, and they'll send the formula directly to the patient for you.
Okay.
So, I mean, my pharmacy, had I started it 10 years before I did, probably would be better used by other acupuncturists. But now that there's the option of them, I mean, I did that before I had my own pharmacy. I wrote the prescriptions, and they would send me the bottles of the herbs.
But now your patients can walk out
Right.
with a packet right then and there.
Or as
what
in
you
the
think.
other day, I gave somebody a formula and I gave her 2 weeks worth, and the first week just wasn't doing it for her. And she called me up and I just gave her another herb to add to the second.
Okay. So you're
can,
adjusting it.
you're adjusting as you go.
That's really interesting.
I mean,
you're
'cause
not locked into
if you're
some
coughing
regimen.
and you're getting coughing up and hacking up a lot, and I give you some herbs and that gets better, you don't need the same herbs the next week. You need different herbs. Because you're not the same person. As you get better, your formula changes until either you don't need them or you come to one that's just like a supplement vitamin type formula that you always take.
So it really is individualized medicine.
Very.
I know that about you. Just,
Yeah.
you know, from what I've seen of you, you really care about your patients and really get into what their problem is, and you really think about it. Even off time, you're thinking about how can I best help them. What do you treat the most, would you say, that this is where you constantly get people coming back, oh my gosh, this helped so much?
For herbal medicine?
Yeah.
I would say for acupuncture, pain is what people come back for the most.
Right.
But I think for herbal medicine, what they come back for the most is digestive and respiratory stuff, and menopausal issues like hot flashes.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it just, people don't want to take hormones anymore.
Oh, is that what
true.
people take?
Well, that's
when
what
they have
that
hot
they usually are
flashes?
given some sort of hormone regimen, hormone replacement therapy to keep their estrogen, progesterone levels really at
And instead you
unnatural
could take-
levels for their age, because you're supposed to have
You're
that
supposed
drop
to be
as you
having
age.
less.
But
and
you're not
this is
supposed to have hot flashes and sweats.
So would this help you emotionally, like for people
Yes.
who are going through menopause? I'm only
Oh.
just saying what I hear on TV. I don't
No,
know if it's
you
really
know
true,
what?
but if you can go somewhat crazy
That's
or
another
something.
thing. I have one man who comes to me, and he comes often because it helps him emotionally. He had some real, like, things happen that were beyond his control that any of us would get depressed about, and so he didn't really have clinical depression to go and see somebody, but he needed help to get through that, and he comes back when, you know, people come back for things like that too, emotional anxiety,
The tea helps with
stress-related things,
stress?
stress-related things, no matter what they are, it tends to help with.
Really?
For
So
things like carpal
everything-
tunnel syndrome and that, I think acupuncture is going to be better than
Yeah, because I know my husband's really been helped by your acupuncture. We'll talk
Right,
about
but
that in the
that
next
was-
show, but
that
I'm just
was
saying it's a
acupuncture.
big thing with
And I
pain,
think I
know
may
that.
have given him some of these at one point, and I don't know how much they helped him. And I
I'm
don't
not
think he
sure.
really wanted to take, I mean, you know, he doesn't want to go.
But anyway, no, that's very interesting. We're going to have to wrap up soon. Is there anything else you want to tell us
Well,
about?
there is one more thing about herbs I think is very important, and this only applies to Chinese herbs. They're very different than Western herbs, really different. And with Chinese herbs, I like to say it's as if there are two parts to the formula. There's the one part that's for what is wrong. It's like there's this one part that's the jade windscreen part.
Okay.
The second half of the formula is why is this thing happening to you personally? So the second part of the formula is the Lisa part, or the Julie part, or the Neil part.
person
It's like
part.
the part for the person, and those two halves go in together to make one formula. So I mean, I think that's a real strong point of Chinese herbal medicine.
Right.
So
Well, in our last minute, what do you want to, anything you want to ask her?
Well, I was going to just follow up at that. It sounds like you're able to connect the problem with the person, and whether you're using herbs or acupuncture, the cupping, and that thing I cannot pronounce.
the heat treatment. It's a heat treatment, moxa.
Right. It really just seems that Mystic River Acupuncture is a place where people can be treated for a variety of things.
I
Sounds
have a
like
general
almost
practice,
everything.
like an old-fashioned
Like a-
GP, except
Right.
it's Chinese.
Okay, well, you know, we're going to have you on our next show, and we'd love to talk to you some more, especially
Okay.
about acupuncture and how you started it.
Thank you for coming and telling
Well,
us
thank you.
how you.
We might have a
Make
minute if you want to
people's-
say your phone number right before we go.
Oh, I want to hear what Julie had to say.
We're running out of time.
It's okay. No, I was just going to reference. It sounds that I don't know what I was going to say, but it just sounds like you keep people able to dream and meet their dreams.
Oh, yes, like the VFG.
Like
Okay,
There we
phone
go.
number, and then
In the
you have to
bottle.
stop.
Oh, yes, a Mystic River Acupuncture in Groton at 860-448-6766.
So if they wanted to call
Thank
you, they can
you,
give you a call.
Kathleen
Standing by the
Poole.
lines.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. We'll see you next
Thank you.
week.
Okay,
bye-bye.
bye.